you how to complete form EX23. This is in effect your application form for initial renewal card. And it's really easy to complete. It's just your basic information, personal information, some random information like your parents' names. But we'll go through it bit by bit. It's just 2 sides of A4. Here we go. So first field is your passport number. So whatever your UK passport number is, you place it in that field just there. Next is your NIE. So for example, you place it in these fields here. So you put your first letter in the first field, then the next number in the next field, and then your last letter of your NIE number in that end field there. Next, your first surname, or if you're British, you'll generally only have 1 surname, or if you're like me, I have 2 surnames, double barrel, but for some reason the Spanish just put it in as my first surname all in one go. So for example, I'm going to put in here surname, and my name is Joe, and then my sex is either hombre or mujer, and in my case I'm going to select hombre. For non-binary people, you can select X there, or if you don't want to declare your sex, you can also tick X there. Then it's your date of birth, and again it's 3 fields. And then don't forget then, regardless your place of birth, and that should match exactly what is on your passport. And then your country of birth. So then your nationality. So you're going to say that you're British, but obviously with Spanish, if you're a woman, you would say Britannica, and if you're a man, you'd say Britannico. And then your marital status. So, for example, myself, casado, sí, casado, married. Or there's S for single. I will say them in English for you. V for widow or widower, D for divorce, and SP for separated, separado. And the next question, the next field then is your father's name. So, and it's literally just your father's name, not his surname, just his name, as it would appear on his birth certificate. If they have got a middle name, I would always put, if they've got a middle name in that field, that's what they mean by name. Is, for example, if you were Spanish, your name would be, and you was male, you would be, for example, Jose Maria. You would type that in, Jose Maria. So if you are British, again, you would do the same, the first names. Your mother's name then. And then your address in Spain. So I'm going to say I live at Calle Madrid. Number 1. I don't live in an apartment, so I don't need to worry about the piso or floor. Look at that, which I'm just going to say I live in Almeria, in the city itself. What I will say about the localidad is the town that you're living in. So if you're living in a nucleus or village within of a town, you wouldn't include that at this point. It's whatever, in effect, it's whatever would be showing on your padron. Your CP, which is your postcode, and then your province. Then you need to complete your telephone number, which needs to be a Spanish number. And then your email address. And because you're going to do the form yourself, you don't need to worry about your legal representative to be put there at the bottom. You ignore the next part of the form, which is section 2, and you go straight down to section 3, the address of your notifications ultimately. So again, you type in your name there, but you would type it in as your surname, then your first name. So for example here, I've put my name as, my surname is White and Joe, so Joe White, I would put in White Joe. My NIE I would put here. And again, I would put my address here. Localidad, which is your town, postcode, and your province. Again, your mobile number, and again your email address. It is a bit of duplication, but you have to put it in. Okay, then there's a bottom of page 1, there is a consent box. You need to tick that. That means that you'll get your notifications electronically. What I will say is if somebody else has booked your appointment for you using their digital certificate, it's really important that you get your digital certificate as soon as possible, because any notifications you get will get put into your online folder. So again, we put our details here. This time they want it around as your first name and surname, and that's just so that it links up with the previous pages at the top of the page. Next, we're going to select the data of the information about your application, why you're applying for it. So for example, if you were applying for your initial card, you would need to select here by ticking Tarjeta Inicial, okay? However, if you are renewing your TIE card, you wouldn't select that, you would select the Renovación de Tarjeta. And likewise, if your card has been stolen, lost, destroyed, it would be this other option just by the side here. Note for that is that if you have lost or stolen it, you will need, if it has been lost or stolen or destroyed, depending on the circumstances, you will need a denuncia from the police so that you can apply for a new card. Okay, so then on section 4.2, Situación en España, for the majority of people, this is going to be otros, because there isn't actually an option there for us to select for our circumstances. So if you select otros, and then because you are going to be permanent anyway, the reason why you're applying for it is because you're permanent. And for example, if you've had a TIE card already, your card will have expired on the temporary basis and now you're applying for one on a permanent basis. But also, if you're on the old green card still, you will be permanent. So we need to put permanent in here. Permanente. Then you need to sign and date it, but you obviously can't sign it on the computer, but you can put the details in of the date, for example. So in Almeria, or wherever town you live in, and the date today is the 8th of February, and obviously it needs to be in Spanish, 2026. And then on the next box, that's where you will sign it once you've printed the document off. You don't need to worry about anything else on this form. The bottom of page 2, there is some fields there, but that's not for you to complete. That's for the office to complete.